Welcome back everyone. Today we're reading Tumblr because I want to. I hate when people ask me how long it took for me to crochet something I've made. Frankly, that's none of my business. I put the yarn on the hook and worked on it whenever the spirit happened to take me to, and then one day it was done. How long the process took is between the yarn and God. I want no part in it. Don't know why I got called in the title for saying that nobody deserves to live in a society designed to explode and harm them in psych class today, but I did. Perhaps where I went wrong was using pathos to appeal to psychology majors in the first place. 2025 update, a half a decade later, I discovered there's a non-zero chance this professor was torturing monkeys with Neuralink during the time I was in this class. She worked at neurobiopsych with the UC Davis primate lab while they were contracted with Neuralink. Stupid sci-fi movies are like, what if you had to pay to be alive? That's just being disabled. Selling literal minutes of your life as currency. That's just living under capitalism, idiot. My love, my dear, my precious baby bird, I am kissing you so gently on the forehead. Please listen to my words. That's the point. For the love of God, everyone, please learn the meaning of allegory. I'm dying here. Dystopia does not predict the future. It criticizes the present. If a dystopia is feeling like a prediction of the future, that is a problem. With the future, not with the story. Little kids make me laugh. I was at a party yesterday and a kid was there and she noticed I have a long straight cut along the length of my thumb and asked about it. So I told her it was a cat scratch. Almost healed, didn't hurt. And then she was sort of staring and touching it for a bit and went, "You had bone surgery because there were termites in your bones." So I played along and went, "Oh man, I hope they got them all." And she went, "No, they put in more." Termites in my bones? It's more likely than you'd think. Free bone check. That child just figured out that you're a victim of malpractice and you're laughing? You gotta find your doctor and sue them for putting more termites in your bones. How dare they? Reminiscing on when I went cave diving a couple years back and another dude who was there started playing Minecraft music out of his backpack. So I just heard C418 slowly approaching me from within an actual cave. Shout out to that guy. I briefly experienced what it was like to be Steve for real for about 4 minutes. Minecraft fans, I'm sorry, but that guy is clearly your king. I don't want to consume media with this type of content in it. Okay, then don't. Swedish TV accidentally put subtitles of a kid show over a political debate, and it's brilliant. I will build the best sandcastle in the galaxy. He's got my vote. If I could vote in Sweden, I would. For this guy specifically. I want to see that best sandcastle in the galaxy. I don't care if it's to a different country, I still consider it a victory for the human race. I love that Twitch does the stream points thing and that so many streamers have like basic self-care stuff as their low tier point redemptions. Like, frick yes, I will make my fave stressed artist streamer check their posture and stretch for a full minute. Yes, I will make the anxious gamer drink water as many times as I can redeem my points during a stream. Their social relationships aren't healthy. I am literally watering and exercising my streamer regularly. Not to mention the diversity of enrichment audio I give them. No, I don't see my fave streamer as my best friend. More like a Nintendog. In this case, it's unhealthy because they're relying on you to do basic self-care, which is concerning. And a lot of people feel like they are required to be a part of this for the sake of that person. I get that this is a joke, but also there are people who say this as not a joke. So to those people, no, it's still unhealthy. The Phantom of the Opera. I was born with facial deformities that are so horrific that even my own mother couldn't bear to look at me. So that's why you have to live as an outcast in the basements of an opera house? The Phantom, who has been an admired performer, palace architect, royal executioner, and chief architect of the Opera House, who is able to go out in public with no alteration to his face except a false nose and a mustache. No, that is a separate choice that I've made. Victor Frankenstein was on a wretched vacation, mourning the deaths of 2 children he killed, but the scenery description is beautiful. Return to Monkey. Brain Spew, Frankenstein, Mary Shelley. I read it a few weeks ago. It left an impression. Damn good novel. It is actually a really good book and holds up to this day really well. Your mind on what Frankenstein is, though, if you have no experience with the book, is going to probably be very wrong. Mostly because, well, this whole brain-dead monster is not really accurate. In the book, he's more like a lost toddler than anything. They need to invent the opposite of an NDA called an FDA, where you have to tell everyone everything. A subpoena. Tumblr. Alcohol. War Thunder forums. Each of these is slightly more effective. Give someone to say when someone says they have a seafood allergy. If you care for them, you can say, "Thank you for informing me. I won't have seafood near you." If you hate them, you can say, "My shrimpathies." It's almost that time of year again, so you know what that means. This reblog has been flagged as explicit. You know what? That's fair. I hate that I now know what this means. This story betrayed its own themes. Looks inside. It was never the theme to begin with. I thought someone make a great point that the worst way to view a story is through a presupposed lens. The amount of times I've seen where a morally gray main character is treated as either this show is terrible because this morally gray character is treated like a hero when it's not, or this show is terrible because this morally gray character has redeeming aspects. And therefore the writer is saying that they're good. Which, I mean, again, no. We assume a lot of expectations in our stories without realizing it. In 7th grade, our teacher made us submit an essay to a competition sponsored by a drug-free campaign. The essay basically had to be about how drugs are bad and our pledge to never do drugs. My friend won first place out of the entire district, and the reward was a check for $40 to be used towards college. The check was written so that it couldn't be redeemed until 2017, the year we graduated, and my friend just now cashed it. She then proceeded to buy 7 grams of weed with her drug-free essay prize money. Now that is big pecker energy. Wait, how would there be gambling under communism if we don't have money? Your concern about communism is lack of gambling? Pornography setup. Oh, I discovered this ancient pre-world communism game called poker. But we haven't had money for generations. I guess we have no choice but to bet clothes and sexual favors. Oh no. You understand. I do. I mean, you can still play with the chips, you just aren't gambling for money. There's a lot of board games based on capitalism, though. Everyone's a little autistic. Not true. Rude, actually. Minimalizing a disability. Everyone's a little weird. True. Human brains are very different. Not diagnosing random people. Works for neurotypicals, too. I feel like autistic is going down the same route as a lot of other words where it's no longer really being used for the medical term it was. I think an easy example is stupid and idiot used to be genuine medical terms. Nobody treats them that way now. And to be honest, I think autistic's going to end up that way. And I say that as someone who was diagnosed back when autism was considered a weird thing to have. To be clear, I'm not saying this is a bad change, I just think that's where it's going. Hate being the generation that remembers no ads on YouTube and the annoyance when we first saw one ad every 10 videos, then one every 5 videos, then on every video, then multiple ads within a single video, only for YouTube to market paying for a premium trademark to get rid of ads, which weren't even there at the start. I hate being the generation that remembers when I could easily find episodes of anime and whole button movies on YouTube. Hate being the generation that remembers when YouTube videos would buffer when you pause them, allowing the entire video to load and let you watch it without interruption, even on slow connections. Something really interesting about this, the first one is for profit, obviously, but what's really interesting to me is YouTube spent a long time losing money. People treat it like it's been making a lot of money this whole time. They've been losing money more than gaining it for most of YouTube's existence. That was how determined they were to build up this giant amount of videos, which is kind of what makes them like untouchable as a titan nowadays. The second one, copyright, I get it. I'm not happy about it, but I understand why it's like that. That's fair. The third one, why did they get rid of that? Because I remember that. I use it all the time because my family did not pay for good internet. Why did that get rid of? Because I never found an answer. I just know it happened. Like the first two, I at least understand. I might not be too happy that it's a thing, but I understand it. The third one, I have yet to hear an explanation. Please comment. Someone be smart enough to tell me why. Kink is bad because the thing that kink is based on is bad. It's such a funny take. We're acting. You hate theater. You're standing up in the audience and mansplaining to Lady Macbeth that killing people is wrong. To some extent, I agree, but at the same time, the thing is, people do tend to take things too far if it's unchecked. And it is important for some kinks. An easy example would be bondage and stuff like knife play, where people can genuinely get hurt. You don't have to stop, just please be careful, practice it safely, which is a fair thing to say. In the theater, standing up to someone such as Lady Macbeth is kind of dumb because the whole point of the show is that it is bad. Nobody is practicing bondage to say that it is bad. Give a man a leaf and he will eat it. Teach a man to leaf and he will go away. Plus, I could have also been a newspaper in the 1910s on a slow day. I wish I could get stickers from the doctor as an adult too. Your blood pressure is low and you have several vitamin deficiencies. Spider-Man or sparkly dinosaur sticker. Perhaps even a lollipop because I was so brave when they stole my blood. And my blood pressure is low and I'll faint if I don't get a lollipop after having my Bloodtron. Last night, the 11-year-old broke down the Google Slides middle school chat room for me. Number 1, at first they used a Google Doc, but the internet scroll was too chaotic. Number 2, in a slide deck, each new slide is one post. Some alt text, some images, some both. Number 3, they use slides comments features to reply to each other's posts. Number 4, this allows participants to easily flip between posts using the slide thumbnail navigation, and they can find the conversations they care about easily. Number 5, he owns the file, and if anyone spams it, deletes other people's posts, or gets nasty, he can revert the file to a previous save state and remove the spammer's access. Number 6, he did share the file with me on purpose. I think because he was proud and wanted me to see what he'd made. Essentially, they created a chat room with moderation in Google Slides, so they can get around the school's ban on platforms like Discord. It's kind of brilliant. The kids are doing fine. You know, the ability to revert back and undo what spammers do is something that most modern platforms can't even pull off, so honestly, all the power to them. I worked in IT at a private school for a grip. And the 5th grade boys got busted for using a shared Google Doc named The Chat to get around the restrictions on messaging platforms almost a decade ago. Kids never change. When I was in college, we had a actual full-on Discord chat. dedicated just to everyone in this class. We talked about different lessons. We talked about all this and that. But we also talked about games and shows and blah, blah, blah. And there was like this genuine sense of community there. And also we did really, really well at staying on top of our work because of it. So honestly, all these restrictions of you're not allowed on these chat platforms, to some extent I get it because people are using it on things other than the people there. But at the same time, it's a really good tool. Like, it is genuinely useful and not just for silly stuff. Organized crime? Nah, girl. I'm into disorganized crime. If a goon doesn't have ADHD, they're not getting hired. Cops can't stop us if they don't know what we're doing, and they can't find out if we have no idea either. Investing into this one at 128 notes. Nah, I'm safe. It won't happen twice. Minions, stop this post from reaching 1K. On it, boss. Getting this post to 10K, just like you said. Thinking back to the good early days before my skin grew back, when people could shake their heads at me and say, masks are a government conspiracy. Instead, navigating the BS like a normal person, I could pull mine down and say, I have chemical burns on my face. Things people expect in a political confrontation. Facts, logic, emotional outbursts. Things they are never prepared for. Open sores. Special thanks to Willow, our glass sailor.